Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, vaccine eligibility expands in Kern to nearly all areas, anyone 16 years old and up. The reason behind the change in the areas left out of the new order. And the World Health Organization weighs in on the origin of COVID-19 after a joint study with China. What they had to say about the lab leak theory and the most likely scenario coming up. Plus, opening statements and first witnesses in the trial of former police officer Derek Chauvin arrested in the death of George Floyd. A look at the defense's strategy and what the Floyd family's attorney says the trial is really about on this Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. And good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky in for Alex Fisher.
And good to have you with us this morning, Nicole. I'm Maddie Jansen, and we're talking about your forecast. Very spring-like and sunshiny all across the Golden Empire. Let's check in with Kevin and see what we're looking at as we head into our Tuesday morning.
Yeah, if you're going to be heading out and about today, we are expecting another warm day. It's only going to get warmer the next few days. So I remind you, a lot of us aren't used to the heat. So if you have to work outdoors with these 80s, just make sure you're taking breaks and staying hydrated. Currently, we're at 54 degrees in Bakersfield under clear skies, a light wind out of the east at 5. And you can see hour by hour here, we'll be rising into the upper 70s. I think we'll top out near 81 this afternoon. And then out of Tehachapi, we've got a temperature right now 41 under a calm wind. No wind advisory in place now. That expired, but we are still seeing a little bit of a breeze up near the Ridgecrest area, so keep that in mind this morning. Hour by hour, we'll see temperatures near 41 by 7 a.m. and then rising into the 60s as we progress into the afternoon. So another beautiful day. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a little bit. For now, we'll send it back over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kev. We begin with the latest on the coronavirus in Kern County. The vast majority of county residents ages 16 and up are now eligible to get a COVID-19 vaccine, no strings attached. Kern Public Health announcing yesterday anyone living in zip codes that fall under quartile 1 or 2 of the Healthy Places Index, which tracks life expectancy and community health conditions, is now eligible. That means everyone for which the vaccine has been approved, ages 16 and up, can get one, with the exception of just 6 zip codes. The non-qualifying zip codes are as follows: 93287, 93311, 93312, 93314, 93531, and 93561. Also the area code 93519. The area of Cant Hill in the Mojave Desert is not listed as eligible or ineligible. We reached out to Public Health but have not heard back either way as of news time. 3 of those are Bakersfield zip codes. The others represent areas of Tehachapi, Keene, and Woody. Public Health says the My Turn system has not yet been updated to reflect the new eligibility. So the department has launched a web page where residents can check to see if they live in a zip code that is eligible under the new rules. If so, they'll get a special code to use for scheduling a vaccination appointment at the Kern County Fairgrounds. Just head to our website, kget.com, for a link to that site. And a reminder, the state announced that as of Thursday, those 50 and older are eligible for the vaccine regardless of zip code. For 16-year-olds and up, complete eligibility opens 2 weeks later on Thursday, April 15th. Also, family members of those who are eligible can get the vaccine, no questions asked.
Meantime, we continue to learn the true nature of the deadly winter surge, with public health officials confirming another 23 lives lost yesterday, bringing the total to more than 1,200. January is by far our deadliest month of the pandemic, but COVID-19 is not spreading as quickly. 53 new cases were also announced yesterday. Our average is 61 people testing positive every day. New state data shows there are 65 people in the hospital with coronavirus. Just 11 are in the ICU. Nearly 49,000 people received a vaccine last week, according to state data. And more than 100 photos have been uploaded to KGET's gallery honoring those we've lost to COVID-19. And we want to continue to hear your stories. Upload your photo and a message to Those We've Lost gallery. You can also see photos and read the stories of others who have been victims to the pandemic. The gallery can be found on our website, kget.com. Just click on the hot link icon. And while cases continue to fall, the pandemic hasn't loosened its grip on local athletics. The final Bakersfield College women's basketball game of the season will not go on. The athletics department announced on Instagram that it was canceled because of COVID-19 protocol on the part of Coosa College. Now, the game has been scheduled for Thursday.
3 weeks. That's when President Biden says nearly every American adult will be able to get in line for a COVID vaccine. But health officials warn the virus is still spreading. Tracy Potts has our story this morning, plus an update on how many children are still in custody at the border.
Maddie, good morning. Health experts are very concerned that we're entering a fourth wave of the coronavirus as President Biden announces that soon almost every adult will have a chance to be protected. 3 weeks from now, on April 19th, President Biden says 90% of adults will be eligible to get the coronavirus vaccine, and 90% will live within 5 miles of a site offering the shot. But even with the U.S. giving 3 million shots a day and shipping 30 million doses this week, the virus is spreading. New cases are up 10% in the last week. More people are going to the hospital. More are dying. President Biden is urging states to put reopening on hold.
I'm reiterating my call for every governor, mayor, and local leader to maintain and reinstate the mask mandate. Please, this is not politics.
1 million people are flying every day against the CDC's advice not to travel. The CDC director is worried about a fourth surge.
I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
At the border, more than 5,700 children remain in custody. It's a new record announced just last night.
The most frustrating thing about it is that it was entirely preventable. This crisis that is unfolding is the direct result of political decisions made by Joe Biden and his administration.
Most children have been there past the legal 3-day limit, some as long as 10 days. And turning to the economy, the president's announcing his plan tomorrow. The CDC is extending the ban on evictions through June. And today, the president signs off on the Paycheck Protection Program, extending small business loan applications through the end of May. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
5:07 is your time now. More now on the move to extend the moratorium on evictions, which was initially scheduled to expire tomorrow. The White House says the moratorium provides protection for renters out of concern that having families lose their homes and move into crowded conditions would further the spread of the virus. To be eligible for protection, renters must earn $198,000 or less for couples filing jointly, or $99,000 for single filers. They must also demonstrate that they've sought government help to pay the rent, declare that they can't pay because of COVID-19 hardships, and affirm they're likely to become homeless if evicted. Meantime, a joint World Health Organization and China study on the origins of COVID-19 says that transmission from bats to humans through another animal is the most likely scenario, and that a lab leak of the coronavirus is extremely unlikely. A draft copy was obtained yesterday by the Associated Press. The findings were largely as expected and left many questions unanswered. The team proposed further research in every area except the lab leak hypothesis.
Doctors are discovering more and more lingering side effects of COVID-19, including a condition related to what so many recovered patients have complained about, the loss of taste and smell. Bianca Castro reports.
Doctors now know that loss of taste and smell is a common side effect of COVID-19, but about 10% of people who recover those senses deal with another problem. It's called parosmia, and it's when things taste or smell entirely different than they used to, and not in a good way.
Like rotten food in a refrigerator, or a dirty trash can, or even poop. It just can smell like something really unpleasant.
In one Facebook parosmia support group with more than 16,000 members, this person writes that gasoline smells the same as dinner. This one says certain foods taste like dirty dishwater. And this person writes that every hygiene product in her bathroom smells like mold.
It's all because those olfactory nerves that tell our brains what things smell like, as they start to regenerate or recover, they just don't always get completely well at the same time. And so the brain may be getting signals that are a little mixed up coming from those olfactory nerves.
Parosmia is most commonly associated with viral infections. It can appear weeks after a person has recovered and usually goes away with time.
These olfactory symptoms really can have huge social and emotional impacts on patients. There's a lot of anxiety or depression that can come along with this. So this is yet another reason that you want to protect yourself against COVID as much as possible.
Yesterday, a Minnesota jury and millions of TV viewers relived the disturbing last minutes of George Floyd's life during the televised murder trial of now former officer Derek Chauvin. The prosecutors telling the jury Floyd was murdered, the defense suggesting drugs led to his death. Chauvin faces 3 charges, including second-degree murder in the death of Floyd, a black man who died in May of last year after Chauvin pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes. Video of Floyd's death, in which he can repeatedly be heard saying, "I can't breathe," led to global protests last year against police brutality.
Today starts a landmark trial that will be a referendum on how far America has come in its quest for equality and justice for all.
During opening statement, Special Prosecutor Jerry Blackwell said Chauvin betrayed his badge when he used, quote, excessive and unreasonable force against Floyd. Meanwhile, Chauvin's defense attorney, Eric Nelson, focused on the evidence, saying it's far greater than the 9 minutes and 29 seconds seen in the video of Floyd's death. Meantime, Boulder police officer Eric Talley will be laid to rest today at 11 a.m. Officer Talley was one of the first police officers to arrive at the scene of the mass shooting at the King Soopers last Monday. The 51-year-old was killed in the line of duty. 9 other people also lost their lives when a suspect opened fire at a grocery store. The funeral will take place at Flatirons Community Church in Lafayette. While the general public is welcome to attend, attendance is limited due to COVID-19 restrictions.
This morning, we continue our conversations with our 4 remarkable women finalists. There are many things that make a woman remarkable, but certainly forging the way for others is a big one. Dr. Brenda Lewis is not only the first African-American woman to be part of the superintendency of Kern High School District, she's helping shape the next generation of leaders through mentorship. Despite all that, the nomination still took her by surprise.
When I read your email, I'm like, what? So one of my colleagues shortly after that actually called me and said, hey, just want to give you a heads up. You might be hearing from. And I said, oh, well, it just so happens I got an email. And then she explained. And so, yeah, it's really, really, really humbled and surprised. So.
What does that mean to you? Because I know that you've been, in your field of work for a long time, working in education, working in mentorship and reaching out to students, specifically working with African-American students and young women and helping to empower them and raise them up. What does it mean to you to be recognized for that work?
I just think I'm very humbled by the recognition. You can't do anything of any significance or importance unless you have the support and the collaboration and the teamwork of a lot of people. So I've just been fortunate in my position, through my positions throughout the year in leadership, and especially now as the Associate Superintendent of Instruction. I've just been very fortunate to have certain areas fall under my division, and I've had the support of my superintendent, directors, and a lot of people that I work with, including the administration and individuals at the school sites, to just be able to implement and provide services that are needed for our students, and especially for special populations of students. Nothing that I've done on my own. It's all been a lot of teamwork, but I'm just fortunate to be the one that has been able to lead some of the work in our district.
That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about the, I got to look at the Young Women Empowered for Leadership group.
We started actually in September of 2017. I was fortunate enough to be asked by the principal of North High School to go out and be a mentor for the young Black women on the North High campus. And at that time, we had 3 other women in the district who were leading mentoring work with African American young ladies at their school sites. So I pulled them together at the district. We met, we started brainstorming about how can we bring this to scale across the district, and the work that's being and the support that's being provided to these students at these various school sites. How can we get more of our students involved? So we sat down in several meetings. We brainstormed about what would our mission be? What would our goal be? How do we start bringing this to scale with other schools in the district? And so we started out with 4 schools. We started out with North, East, South, and West High School, because that's where there were programs focused on African American young women. And then we slowly invited additional schools on for the past several years, not wanting to move too quickly, but wanting to be able to provide that opportunity for other students throughout the district. So now we have a total of 10 schools. We have a partnership with African American women from different occupations throughout the Bakersfield community that come in, and they provide workshops for our young ladies. We have two forums that we usually offer each year. One's called the Women in Business, the Women in Education, and they're made up of panels of Black women in different professions and Black women in all positions in education. And we bring the young women together, and the panelists address certain questions and interact with the young ladies, just to be able to be encouraging to them, to show them the myriad of opportunities that are available to them.
What keeps you going and what makes you passionate about your work?
You know, I just believe, God orders your steps and he puts you where you're supposed to be. And when I first went to college, I was from a family of poverty. I grew up in poverty, didn't know it, but I always wanted to get a job. I thought when I went to college, I'm going to make a lot of money because I'm tired of being poor. And I had the opportunity in college to be a counselor in the summer for a program called Upward Bound. And I started working with young people then, and I decided that's what I wanted to do.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.